Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the Classic Wrestling Series Season 3, Episode 2. So, last week we had the Season 3 premiere of the CWS, and that has gained a lot of traction. Thank you so much for the love and the support on the CWS recently. Means a lot to me, means the world. So, most recent video on this YouTube channel is my free demo Monday, where we played, well, 3 demos on the Twitch. So you can check that out right here at the end of the video, or you can also check the annotation at the beginning of this video if you want to go and check out any of my former VODs on Twitch. As I always say, twitch.com/TCOTN if you want to go and check these videos out being recorded live on Twitch. It is always a blast, and we always have a lot of fun. But today, I'm not going to lie, chat, it's absolutely pissing it down here. So I want to go back to summer. Wait a minute, summer? I'm a wrestling channel, so Slam, SummerSlam! But which SummerSlam? Which SummerSlam shall we review? What about the first SummerSlam to be taking place outside of North America? With the main event of Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog? This is one I've been wanting to do for a while. Why don't we check out SummerSlam 1992? Let's do this. So, SummerSlam 1992. This is the first major WWF pay-per-view to be taking place outside of North America in general. So, this aired on August 29th, 1992 in England, but on tape delay 2 days later on August 31st, 1992. So, the way they did it was the main event in the UK was Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, but obviously they did the tape delay, so they put the WWF Championship being Macho Man Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior in the main event slot of the pay-per-view in America. So that's how we get there. This is quite possible. This is actually the longest. So this is literally the first and last major WWE pay-per-view that the UK had for the longest time. I mentioned it in my Clash at the Castle review in 2022. Link right here if you want to go and check that review out, where I talk about how, you know, this is the first major premier live event of the WWE, from the WWE. And quite honestly, this is going to be a very interesting show. I've not seen this show in about 4 years, I think. I think the last time I watched this was 4 years ago. I wasn't even alive when this show came out, to be fair. But that's not going to stop us. Let's get to our first matchup. So our show opens up with the one and only Vince McMahon talking about IcoPro. What the fuck? Oh my god. So this was a Jesus Christ. This was a protein powder that Vince was trying to hawk back in the day. Where I believe this was around the time of the BWF as well, the the WBF, sorry, the World Body Weight Championship that Vince was trying to hawk as well around this time. But again, this is Britain. This is 1992. You have the Britannia, regal music. You have everybody being like, this is Britain, and just shows a bunch of people just being like, we're going to be talking about Davey Boy Smith and all that shit. And again, in the UK, the main event was Davey Boy Smith versus Bret Hart for the Intercontinental Championship. So we have the bugles being played and the trumpet, well, more trumpets than bugles, but, it's one of them things. And classic shots of London, Parliament, Tower Bridge, the gardens of Parliament and all this jazz. So we're not going to waste any more time. We are going to get into our first matchup. Hopefully this is going to be a fun show. So let's get to it. So this is, again, we're watching SummerSlam obviously, and we have Vince McMahon and Bobby Heenan on commentary. My word, this is going to be fun with Vince McMahon and Bobby Heenan on commentary. I'm going to enjoy this show. I love Bobby Heenan on commentary. I think he was an excellent manager. He is an excellent commentator, I think, as well. Especially when he was paired up with Gorilla Monsoon. That is, you know, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan with JR and Jerry Lawler. Those are my two top commentators in the WWE, in the WWF/E. They are just, you know, they are the pinnacle of commentators. Like, they are the best commentators in my opinion, I think. There are underrated commentators. There are, you know, Michael Cole is still a good commentator. He's been here for 25 years, something like that. It is mental. It is absolutely insane that we have all this going on. And it's weird to see London hosting a WrestleMania outside and it didn't piss it down. This is a British miracle. I'll say that now. So we have the Money Inc. We have Ted DiBiase and IRS in the ring right now. I still think IRS and Undertaker should have been fucking called Deaths and Taxes. I still think that on a daily fucking basis. Again, I'm a wrestling fan. You think of this shit. So I believe they are taking on the Legion of Doom. This was supposed to be a title match, I believe. But the title match was changed to Earthquake and... I think Earthquake and... yeah, the Natural Disasters. Natural Disasters won the belts off of... I think it was Money Inc. at the time. I could be wrong on that one. And so that match, the match later on with the Natural Disasters is now for the WWF Tag Team Championships. And with that all being said, we'll get into the match. We are going to be talking about this. There were some prelim matches on the show that we didn't get to see, and I think they're on the DVD version, but they're not on the network version. So we had Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the Bushwhackers defeating the Mountie and the Nasty Boys on pay-per-view. Pre-show match. And then we had Tito Santana versus Papa Shango. And Papa Shango is one of those things where I have just missed Papa Shango, like, every now and again. It is very annoying that I do miss Papa Shango every so often. I need to do a show where Papa Shango is actually present in the show. I may have to review WrestleMania 8 at one point during this season to just to have some fun with it. So, like I said, our first matchup is the Legion of Doom taking on Money Inc. Let's get to it. Okay, so as this match is started, oh my god, we need to talk about Rocco. So, Rocco is if you don't know who Rocco is, and judging by the whole wrestling world, some people do not know who Rocco is. Rocco was a puppet that the Legion of Doom found out used to have back in the territory days before they joined the WWF, I believe. I could be wrong on this one. I might actually double check my research. Let me just double check my research whilst I'm here. So let me. I want to actually get this right, because I want to make sure that this is okay. So here we are. So yes, Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, been with WWF since mid-90s. The rival, 7 years in the making. They dominate. Legion of Doom dominated the AWA and then the NWA for a while. Then they came into the WWF as the formerly the Road Warriors. They were now known as the Legion of Doom in WWE. They would also be known as the WWF as well. So they lost to Money Inc. So they were the tag champions walking into 1992. Legion of Doom Money Inc. beat them for the belts, and then would beat the Natural Disasters would beat Legion of Doom Money Inc. for the titles. Paul Ellering, who is the longtime manager of the Legion of Doom, said that they needed to go back and basically find a piece of history from the team's past, which turned out to be Rocco. So the film of them finding Rocco would actually be taking place in the mean streets of Chicago in a I think it was the old Scrapyard, if I recall. I could be wrong. So, yeah, again, Rocco was a puppet. Pretty much like Kermit the Frog is, to a degree. Elwin would actually try to perform the voice of, Elwin, but actually he did have a little bit of ventriloquism, a little bit of ventriloquism practice. So you do see his mouth move a little bit for the hawk, where he goes hawk, hawk, hawk. But it's actually not that bad. Like, it's a stupid fucking gimmick, I'll give you that one, for the Legion of fucking Doom. But it is just stupid. They wrestled this match, obviously, we're not going to say that. But we'll get into what happens after after this match in a moment with what goes on with the Legion of Doom. But, that being said, let's watch this match. So we just had our opening contest of SummerSlam. It is the Legion of Doom taking on IRS and Ted DiBiase of Money Inc. DiBiase's actually not a bad wrestler. I forget just how good he can be in the ring, especially when it's heel work. He's really good. And, of course, Legion of Doom are Legion of Doom, AWA, NWA, WWF, their history speaks no bounds, the history of their wrestling speaks no bounds. So this is good. It actually would end with a power slam, not the Doomsday device or the Tower of Doom. Whenever a match would be finished without the Doomsday device, it would be because the wrestler actually taking the move, the Doomsday device, wouldn't feel comfortable doing it. So Legion of Doom were able to hold on to that. And my cat is being annoying. I'm very sorry about that. Hopefully that's not being picked up, but if it is, I am sorry. So, the end of the match, Hawk and Animal would actually leave for Japan. They would actually miss the flight back to America. They were getting sick and tired of everything. They were sick and tired of the WWF itself, so they would leave for Japan and stay there, and they wouldn't be back until around 2000 or so. 2003, 2004, around that time, would be the next time we'd see them. Due to either Animal or Hawk. I think it was Hawk. Just having a drug issue, unfortunately. It does help. It does not help at all. The late 90s, actually, is when Legion of Doom would come back from their excursion from Japan. Apologies, I forgot about the run on Raw they had. I'm very sorry about that. So, okay opening contest, very entertaining, very well done. Crowd absolutely loved it. We've got Ric Flair talking about the Americans main event, which is Macho Man Randy Savage versus the Ultimate Warrior. We'll get to that. We'll get to that intrigue after this, when we get to the match. So, let's not waste any more time. Get to our next contest. So, we just had Virgil versus Nail. I actually forgot this match happened. So, story of Nail, in about how many minutes I have. Nail came into the WWF from the AWA, I believe. I could be wrong on that one. And was paired with the Big Boss Man as somebody who Big Boss Man abused in prison. That was the story that they went with. Not gonna lie. Absolutely fucking stupid. So, Nail attacked Big Boss Man, took his nightstick, and basically put Big Boss Man on the shelf for however many months. And so we get the match Virgil versus Nail to build to the feud of Big Boss Man versus Nail at Survivor Series. However, this isn't real common knowledge to everything. So, upset about the pay he received at SummerSlam, this SummerSlam we're watching, Nail confronted Vince McMahon after Survivor Series after the match with the nightstick on a pole match. Allegedly he attacked Vince McMahon, accused him of sodomy, we'll put it that way, and as a result of him touching Vince McMahon and attacking him, he was fired. He appeared in WCW as the prisoner, and basically WWF sued WCW because of the prisoner's similarity to the Nail character. This would be, 2 years later in the steroids trial for Vince McMahon. This would come out basically, Nail Kevin Sawatch, I think I've said that name right, I could be wrong, would basically say that he, about all this and testify against Vince in the steroids trial. And basically, he would basically fuck up and say that he hates Vince McMahon's guts. Not in that way, not in that way, but in the way of, in that way, and basically would screw up the trial for himself, mainly. And it would actually prove harmful to the prosecution's case as well, which would then derail and all that shit. So that is the story of Nail, briefly told in how many minutes I had. So now it is the model Whit Martell versus the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels in a don't punch me in the face match. I don't actually know what the name of this match is. We'll double check it. But Whit Martell, Shawn Michaels. Oh, this one should be good. So we just had the model Whit Martell versus the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels in the no punching in the face match. This was, I'm not gonna lie, I liked it up until the ending. There's a reason for it. I like the idea of both men not being hit in the face, because both men are beautiful to Sherry's eyes and everything like, and that is a, she doesn't want either man to be hurt physically or have any injuries to the face or, God forbid, some, disfigurement from a punch, like a broken arm to the bone or a broken eye socket, anything like that. So the idea of it is very good, and for the longest time, about 5 minutes, they wouldn't actually, use any punches to the face or anything like that. Yes, they did slap, but it wasn't a punch. So you can get around that a little bit, but it does go into explanation why you can't use the Super Kid for Shawn Michaels, the Super Kid, not Sweet Chin Music, because it wasn't named Sweet Chin Music at this moment in time. So it explains a lot. Sherry obviously goes down because she faints because both men were about to punch each other in the face, and it's a DQ. It's timeout DQ. It upsets me, but at the same time, it works really well. It's explained well. The in-ring action is really fucking good. Hopefully we could have got a finish between both these men, but we don't. Very upsetting. So after the match, Whit Martell runs back, grabs a bucket of water, throws it on Sherry and Shawn. Absolutely brilliant, and she's mad up for obvious reasons. So coming up now, we have the Natural Disasters versus the Beverly Brothers for the WWF Tag Team Championship. Now, a lot of people are confused a little bit on why the Nasty Boys were then given a title shot over Money Inc., who actually who were the former champions. So, a little bit of explanation. There was a battle in Albert Hall show just before the pay-per-view start. I think it was the day before the pay-per-view, before SummerSlam, and there was a tag team battle royal for a shot of the tag team titles, and the Nasty Boys won the tournament, won the battle royal, so they get the tag team title match moving forward. And I believe they would actually beat the Natural Disasters for the belts. They did have a title reign, and I think it was over the. I think it was over the Natural Disasters. I will have to double check that one. I will go back and I will check. But that being said, we are going to have the Beverly Brothers versus the Natural Disasters. Let's get to it. Okay, so a little bit of a change. I am very sorry about this. It was actually in March 24th, 1991 is when the Nasty Boys won the belts. They would relinquish the belt on August 26th, 1991 to the Legion of Doom. Then we get into the whole situation with the Natural, we get into Money Inc. winning the belts, and then the Natural Disasters, and then Money Inc. regained the belts from the Natural Disasters. So for that, I do apologise. I thought it was later on they won the belt. I thought it was later on in 1990. I thought it was early 93 when I thought that the Nasty Boys won the tag team title belts off the Natural Disasters. So for that, I do apologise. I just wanted to double check. But it was Nasty Boys until August 20, again from March 24th to August 26th, 1991. Then the Legion of Doom won the belts from August to February of 1992. Then on July 20th, 1992 is when the Natural Disasters win the belts. and they would carry them into SummerSlam 1992, which is the pay-per-view. Also, Rick Martel dressed up as a tennis player. The Wimbledon had happened 2 months prior to the show. The US Open was either just starting or was underway at this point. So just to clear up a few things for you guys. And once again, very sorry for that. But Beverly Brothers, natural disasters. Let's get to this. So we just had the Beverly Brothers taking on the Natural Disasters for the belts. And I will say this now about the Beverly Brothers. They are good. They are good wrestlers. Not championship reign good, but they are a good jobber tag team. They are very entertaining. They are very fun when it comes to this. When they need a good wrestler, they need a good tag team to go up against the champions. Beverly Brothers are damn good. They were in the AWA, if I recall. They were, they did the territory run back in the late 80s, early 90s and all that. So they are a good tag team hand on if they need any tag teams being held. So, that is, obviously, Natural Disasters would regain the belts, would lose them in October to Money Inc. Again, just for you guys, just for my knowledge and your guys' knowledge. So, we also have the Bushwhackers talking to Mean Gene Okerlund about something. It's New Zealand, New Zealanders. A lot of people forget that the New Zealanders were actually pretty brutal in their native homeland. They were in real, hardcore matches in New Zealand before they joined as the, Bushwhackers. A lot of people forget about that, and it's very surprising. But now we have Demolition imploding because it's Crush versus Repo Man. Both men were actually Demolition, but Vince McMahon being like, no, we're gonna give you the role of a jobber who, robs shit, and we're gonna give you Hawaii. That is pretty much what Vince McMahon turns around and does sometimes in 1992. But again, it is Repo Man versus Crush. Let's get to the matchup. So we just had Crush versus Repo Man, and for both men who know each other very well, this was a good match. It was a solid match, very well done. Not many botches. Crush does get the win after the head squeeze onto Repo Man, and again, it is fun. It's a really good matchup. There's nothing really bad about this match. It was entertaining, very, very good matchup. Then we now have the WWF Championship matchup. Yes, the WWF Championship not in the main event of SummerSlam. Well, here's the thing. So leading into the show, the Bret the Hitman Hart would be talking to Vince about wanting to drop the belt, and the original plan was to drop the belt to Shawn Michaels in America at the time. But before anything like that happened, turns out that SummerSlam was going to be held in England. So immediately Bret turned around and said, well, we've got Davey Boy Smith, who's actually from Britain. He's from Manchester. Why don't we give British Bulldog a title reign, and we have that as the main event in England, and obviously you can do the world title match in America and all that jazz and blah 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 blah. So that's how we actually get the matchup of Bret and British Bulldog in the main event. We will talk more about the actual main event itself when the main event comes around, obviously, because low-key, I'm going to say this now, it is one of my favourite SummerSlam main events. And there are many reasons that go into it, but we'll get to that once we've watched Macho Man Randy Savage versus the Ultimate Warrior for the WWF Championship. So we just had the Ultimate Warrior versus Macho Man Randy Savage for the WWF Championship. This was good. This was a good matchup. It was very entertaining. It was well done. Warrior wasn't that competent in the ring, I'll be honest with you. But at the same time, anybody can bring a good match out of Randy Savage. Randy Savage can bring anybody to a good matchup. And this was a good matchup. It was entertaining. It's like Ric Flair can wrestle a broom back in his heyday and still have a good match with that broom. Triple H can have a good match with a broom. Shawn Michaels can. If you take somebody who is willing to learn and is a little bit green still, you can take them to a very good matchup if they listened and if they do what they are told. And that is a good thing. It's very entertaining. It's a really well done matchup. But obviously, you're not going to have babyface versus babyface with one of them turning heel. So that's why the Ric Flair and the Mr. Perfect angle was brought in. To basically divide some, to cause some tension between both men. But at the end of it being a fucking DQ in a world title match makes no fucking sense. It is absolutely fucking stupid. But, again, it's the sign of the times. We have to take that one with a grain of salt. This is going to be kind of a longish episode. I am very sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But, I want to try and get as much history and much information for you guys so then you know what is going on in 1992. Now, we are here. This is, so just so you know, this is old Wembley. This isn't the new Wembley that we know. This Wembley would be destroyed in early 2000s, I think. I could be wrong on that one. I will double check that, actually. But we now have, I think it's Undertaker. Yes, it is. It's the Undertaker match. So, Undertaker versus Kamala. Let's get to it. So, we just had the Undertaker taking on Kamala. Kimchi, I believe it's his full title, but it's Kamala mainly. This was bad. I'm not gonna lie. There was a dirty ass jump cut in the SummerSlam. The SummerSlam I'm watching is obviously on the network. There is a dirty ass jump cut in the middle of the match, probably to hide a botch or something, but it is bad. Undertaker wins via DQ. It leads forward. Harvey Whippleman is, the manager. He's having the feud with The Undertaker, so he would bring in Giant Gonzalez. Fuck me. Always fun. Always fun when you have to mention Giant Gonzalez. Fuck's sake. But, Undertaker wins via disqualification. 3 splashes, Taker gets up, and they walk to the back nicely. That's how it ends. But now, before our main event, we had Tatanka Buffalo taking on the Berserker in a match, and Tatanka wins. He is still on the undefeated winning streak, not the losing streak, you dumbass, but he's still on the undefeated winning streak with that. So we are going to now talk about our main event, which is British Bulldog versus Bret Hart. Let's get to it. British Bulldog versus Bret the Hitman Hart for the Intercontinental Championship. This is one of the very first times that the IC Championship would be main eventing a major pay-per-view, and it being in London. Fuck yes. So, going into the match, as I said in the WWF Championship match, Bret Hart was actually going to be facing Shawn Michaels for the IC belt if SummerSlam was taking place in Chicago, I believe. But as soon as Bret found out that England was hosting SummerSlam, he changed that idea. He went to Vince and said, look, I want to face British Bulldog for the belt. It's his home country. Let's give him the belt because it'll be a boost of, revenue for England if an English wrestler had a championship belt. Good idea. But, holy crap, Bret and Bulldog decided to, go over the match and explain everything and do all that. Unfortunately, again, 1992, British Bulldog unfortunately had a very bad drug addiction, and Jim the Anvil Neidhart wasn't the best as well, unfortunately. God rest both their souls. And British Bulldog, as soon as the first lockup happens, turns around to Bret and says, I have forgotten every single moment of this match. I need help. Bret, being the constant professional he was at this time, turned around and said, don't worry, Davey, I've got you. And as I said, low-key, this is one of my favourite main event matches of 1992. It's actually one of my favourite SummerSlam main events of all time, I think, personally. So we are going to have the introductions. We have Diana Hart talking about why this match is so important, i.e. Bret being her brother and Davey being her husband. That's caused a little bit of a rift within the Hart family. Because, it's Davey versus Bret, it's family versus family, and it's one of them things. It's kind of like WrestleMania 10 with Bret versus Owen. It's leaning on that, that would lean a little bit on this. And we have the Scottish bagpipe players being led by the one and only Roddy Piper. Fuck I. So, we're going to get to our matchup, and let's watch the matchup. So we just had Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith for the Intercontinental Championship. This is one of my favourite matches from SummerSlam in general because it is just so goddamn entertaining. It is so goddamn good. I'm very sorry if the microphone has gone off. I don't know why it would do that. No, we're back up doing it. This is such a good matchup. This is so fun. The British crowd behind Davey Boy Smith, Bret knowing full well that he's walking in a heel because he's facing British Bulldog. So he plays it up. It works so fucking well. Bret can always turn it on when he needs to. Excuse me. Davey Boy, if you didn't know that Davey didn't know anything about the match, you could not tell without actually full on knowing from Bret's book that Davey had no idea what to do. Like, he turned around to Bret either just before or, like I said, the first lockup, and he just goes, I forgot everything. And this is Davey's best fucking match in WWF. By far. This is Davey's best match. The story behind it, the match itself, the ending with Bret and, Bret and Davey hugging and Diana getting involved to be like, this is now over. The match is over. It's family now. And it works. This is such a fucking great matchup. I always say that this is my favourite SummerSlam match of all time because it is. It is my favourite SummerSlam match that there's been. Because it is so good. Davey extending the hand to shake Bret, and initially him running, walking away because he's pissed. He's just lost the championship. Bret is naturally upset. He's just lost the Intercontinental title, so of course he's going to walk away. But then Diana gets involved to say, just shake his fucking hand. Like, it's a match. Family's family. This is a wrestling match. Shake his hand. Davey does the right thing by, the better man won. But we're family. What gives? And Bret going in, hugging, the shake, the hug. The fanfare of hearing 80,000 people cheering because it's this match. It always sends a shiver down my spine when this match happens or whenever I think of this match because it is so fucking good. Like, again, this is Davey's best match in WWF. By fucking far, in my opinion. So, what do I think of SummerSlam 1992? This is really built on two matches. Ultimate Warrior versus Randy Savage and British Bulldog versus Bret Hart. Does the rest of the match card stack? Tag team match was okay. Nails versus Virgil wasn't really fucking needed. Rick Martel versus Shawn Michaels, that was good. Like, that was entertaining. I'll give it that one. The Natural Disasters Beverly Brothers match was okay. Crush Repo, that was good as well because Demolition implodes. Warrior versus Savage, that was good. I mean, double count out, but it's one of them things. It's like you can't really have two babyface wins because I feel like as well, if Warrior won, then I don't think Davey's win would have been better. I think it would have been a little bit lackluster to a point. Taker versus Kamala did not need to be on the card. Really did not need to be on the card. I'll tell you that now. Right, that match sucks. Plus the dirty ass jump cut in that match. And our main event, this is my favourite main event from SummerSlam. Like, it's definitely in the running for being like one of the best SummerSlam matches there is. And the whole thing going behind it with Davey forgetting and Bret being able to carry Davey through the match itself is really, really impressive. And it's just a damn good matchup in general. So, that is where we're going to leave the CWS for this week. I hope you had a lovely time watching the show. The next video on the channel will be Friday's stream from Zealed Twitch. Hopefully you will join me for that. And our next video is going to be the next CWS, I think. Give me a second. I want to double check when full... I want to know when Full Gear is, so I might as well double check it right now. Double check when Full Gear is, because I think it's not this week. and it's not next week, it's the week after. That is not a problem. So, with that being said, I will catch you next week for the CWS, and I will catch you on Friday for Friday stream on Twitch. Like I say, twitch.com/TCLTN if you wanted to check out the videos being recorded live that we put up on here for the VODs. So, with that being said, TTFN, ta-ta for now.